Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're all having a wonderful time. Here a quick guide for the Plastma Invocation Runemaster in last Epoch. The Plastma Invocation Runemaster is a really great monolith runner as it consistently dealing damage while we are moving. And the build is built around the Runic Invocation Plastma Orb that will spawn a sphere that will orbit around us, dealing fire damage to enemies come in contact with, and at the same time also dealing lightning damage that will arc from the orb as well, dealing damage to enemies around it. And the great thing here is that it can actually double hit from both these damage types if you are positioning yourself right. And the Runic Invocation is called Ra Gon Ra or Fire Lightning Fire, and this will be triggered each time we're using our mobility skill Flame Rush. And by having the immutable order passive node from the Runic Invocation passive tree, make it so we don't have to worry about pressing our skills in the right order, but instead it will mirror the first 3 skills of our action bar equal to their elemental tag and generate runes each time we use any skill. So very basically set up here, basically we are using Flame Rush to trigger our Runic Invocation, and in this case is the Plastma Orb. And we're using Frostwall to grant ourselves some extra layers of defense, and we can also buff our Runic Invocation by a huge amount here as well. The node Aspirant Arrival from the Frozen Wall tree basically makes it so when we pass through our Frost Wall, this will make it so our next Runic Invocation will be empowered, dealing more damage. And this will ramp up 30% more damage each second the wall has been up, and this is a very strong node to take advantage of, especially against bosses, as the build do lack some of the single target damage. To help this, we are using Lightning Blast with its unique node Convigorance, which makes it so half of all of our chains from the skill now will stay on the same target. We also get some chance to double cast the skill here and even quadruple cast it in some cases. The Lightning Blast can drain our mana very quickly, so to help with this we're also using Runebolt as our filler skill. This skill is free and makes it so we get 12 mana when we hit an enemy with it. And here we also get some stacks of Rune Weave, which will boost the damage even further for our Runic Invocation. For defense, it can be a bit squishy against bosses, as you need to stay quite close to them for the Plastma Orb to hit. As the Plastma Orb continues to deal damage all the time, we can combine this with the Twisting Heart of Ukros and also some spell damage leeches health for some pretty good ward sustain, as a percent of our current health will convert to ward when we directly cast a elemental skill from the relic, and then we also heal our health from the spell leech. And even without the relic, it's still possible to play this build, you might just have to stay a bit more focused while you are playing. You can also play this build while you are leveling. It's really great as it's clear in a very big area, and at the same time also dealing damage while we are moving. You can start this as soon as you get to choose your mastery around level 20 for the Plastma Orb Runic Invocation. Some pros for this build: it got some really great clear and also speed, we deal damage while we are moving, and it's quite beginner friendly, you don't need any uniques to start with this build. For some cons, it doesn't really have that much of single target. Positioning and timing of your Frost Wall is crucible for this build, as it will boost the damage by a ton, and also you have to stay in close combat for the Plastma Orb to double hit. And for the uniques for this build, as I mentioned before, you can do this build without any of them, but there are some that helps. The main one is Twisted Heart of Ukros, as it makes it so a percentage of our current health converts to ward when we directly cast a elemental or necrotic spell, and combining this with Hunger of the Void Blessing for the spell damage leech as health, and also Rift Bolt in the sorcerer passive tree for some lightning damage leech. And this is really great for some easy ward generation. We also get some strength here, cast speed, and the base itself also provide a decent percent to increase health. And for some more optional ones for this build, the Static Shell, a great option to boost the defense of this build, with its unique modifier up to 175% more armor against shocked enemies. And this is really great to mitigate all damage you take from all hits. We also get some chance to shock attackers, more lightning damage to shocked enemies, and a static bonus here, nothing really that we care about, but we do have a chance to gain 50 static charges when hit, and also a chance to cast static when we are hit. Another one that we can choose is the Prism Wraps, and this is another chest word great for this build, with its unique modifier up to 8% of elemental damage leech as health on crit. and this is really strong as we are very easily getting up to 100% crit chance with this build. The chest also gets some increased critical strike chance, elemental damage, and also less elemental damage taken. For some stats for this build, try to go for health, resist, critical strike avoidance for the cap, increased cooldown recovery speed, intelligence, increased spell and elemental damage, increased critical strike multiplier, chance to shred armor on hit, and then any source of chance to shock and chill on hit. And for the class specific stats, try to go for +2 level of lightning blast, and also lightning critical strike multiplier. For the idols, you want to get grand idols with the mana and also with the increased lightning damage with a double effect if you have 300 or more maximum mana. For the rest of the slots, you want to go for adorn idols as long as you stay over 300 mana. Here you want to go for increased lightning damage while we have lightning aegis, which we get from our lightning blast, and also increased lightning damage with a double effect if we have 300 or more maximum mana. And some of the more notable blessings is going to be from the Black Sun. Here we go for the spell damage leash as health, or you can also go for the critical strike multiplier. Ending the Storm for the chance to shred lightning resist on hit. Reign of Dragon, you can go for 20% to all resistance, or you can also go for the critical strike avoidance for some easy cap. The Age of Winter for physical resistance or also increased armor. Spirit of Fire, here you want to go for the flat armor. And let's go over quickly the most important notes for the skills, starting with Runic Invocation. So Runic Invocation is going to be our Plastma Orb, which is the rune Ra Gun Ra or Fire Lightning Fire. Elemental Lore makes it so our Runic Invocation now penetrates elemental resistance per point of intelligence. Word of Rhea makes it so we get some extra flat spell fire damage for the Runic Invocation. Immutable Order makes it so we don't have to worry about pressing our skills in the right order for our runes, but instead it will mirror the first 3 skills on our action bar, equal to the elemental tag for each skill. Runic Energy makes it so every second we go without casting a Runic Invocation we gain a stack of Runic Energy, and these stacks when consumed will boost the damage of the Runic Invocation. Copy Scroll makes it so our Runic Invocation now has a chance to repeat per stack of Runic Energy. Transcriber of Power makes so we get some small boost to spell damage and also cast speed after we are casting Runic Invocation for a short duration. We're using Runebolt here, and this is mainly going to be for sustaining our mana and also boosting our Runic Invocation. We're using Blazing Flare and also Searing Dart to change the Runebolt tag to fire. Arcane Restoration makes so we get the mana here when we hit a enemy. Runeweaver, so we get the Runeweaver buffs here, which will increase mana regen and also mana spent gain as ward. We're using Dissolve and Conquer, and this makes it so Runeweave now also grant us more elemental damage per stack of armor shred on the target. Cosmic Tespery makes it so Runeweave now also grant our Runic Invocation additional base crit strike chance. Arcane Overshard for some extra projectiles. Runic Invocation makes so the Runebolt now shoots in a cone, and the projectile also seeks out enemies. We're using Frostwall here to boost some defense, but most importantly to boost our Plasmic Orb. Pyroglass makes so the Frostwall's tag now goes from cold to fire. Shield Touch makes so we deal more damage to shield enemies while we have a active Frostwall. Prepared Ward makes so we are casting Flame Ward on ourselves when we pass through the Frostwall. Aspirant Arrival is the huge damage multiplier for our Runic Invocation, and this makes it so each second the Frostwall has been up, we will get 30% more damage of our next Runic Invocation. So by using this and timing this right, you can get upwards of 200% more damage for our next Runic Invocation. We're also using Lightning Rods here, and this makes it so the Frostwall pillars now cast Lightning Blast, and Amplified Current makes so we shoot out Lightning Blast more frequently the longer it's been up. And next is going to be Lightning Blast, which is going to be our main single target ability. Convigorance makes it so Lightning Blast chains now hit the same target after a delay, but no longer chains to additional enemies, but for the cost of half of our maximum chains. Lightning Attunement makes it so we have a chance to get Lightning Aegis when we use this skill. And this also provides some extra increased lightning damage and also less damage taken. Overcharge makes so Lightning Blast have a chance to double cast, and Hypercharge makes so we have a chance to quadruple cast. Arcaning Power for some maximum additional chains. And Shatter Shock makes so lightning bolts now deal more damage to shield and shocked enemies. And lastly, we're using Flame Rush, which is going to be our mobility skill and also the thing that will trigger our Runic Invocation. Epilogue is the one that will trigger our Runic Invocation when we exit Flame Rush. Energy Equivalence will make it so the Flame Rush base now goes from fire to lightning. Lunar Protection makes it so we gain ward per second during Flame Rush and also gain a burst of ward when Flame Rush ends. Runic Eclipse makes so we take some less damage taken, and this is double against dots. And Blazing Flux makes so Flame Rush costs less mana and also gets some increased cooldown recovery speed. Celestial Guidance makes so all these buffs effects from the Flame Rush tree persist afterwards for a portion of the time equal to the duration you spend in Flame Rush. Solar Rush will increase the speed and also the range of Flame Rush. Smolder and Burn will apply Lightning Resist Shred, as we have changed the skill from fire to lightning. And here a quick preview of the passive skill tree. But for more information about the build, I do recommend to go and check out the last Epoch build planner. Both for the passives and the skills, you can simply use the progression bar at the bottom to easily see when and where to progress in the build. To the top of the build planner, you can also go to Loot Filters, where you can find my ultimate loot filter with a lot of options depending on how strict you want it to be. Link for this will be in the description. So what do you think about the Plastma Invocation Runemaster? Have you tried it out before or tried another version of it? Feel free to tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. If you want to support the channel even further, you can check out my Patreon for behind the scene footage, virtual hangouts and more. If you got any other questions, feel free to drop a comment and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!